And welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo and your girl Polly. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero and our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games, comics. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. So we're deep into superhero spring. We're 2 weeks into it right now, in fact, because Daredevil just dropped its first episode. Daredevil Born Again season 2 just dropped its first episode. Episode 4 of Invincible has come out, and next week we're expecting The Boys. This is what a great year for superhero stuff. We're gonna geek out about it for sure. But before we do all of that, we want to say what's up to our resident anti-Reed fan club, Doom supporter, and of course our comics aficionado. That's our favorite, Blurred and general, what is also Marvel Rivals expert. All you can do, you're doing a lot of stuff.
Expert.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
I'll take that.
I mean, you're good at dying, I suppose, in Marvel Rivals.
Everybody's good at that.
Oh
Well,
no, but
I
Polly, how
do
you
some
doing?
decent healing, do some decent DPS. I don't just die. I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome.
I did play Marvel Rivals this morning a lot. It was hard. Like it was a very tough morning for playing. It feels like all the cyber sports teams, like they
They
just
ganged
came
up on
out
you.
to play, yeah, against me. I don't know what it was. It just felt really impossible to win. But anyway, done with all that. I read some comics this week. I watched some TV this week. I didn't watch any movies though. So yeah, I mostly spent the week reading comics, which is, you know, good.
Nice. I mean, so one of us. I mean, I read a comic this week, but it was just Excalibur.
No.
It was what was it Excalibur #4, which from the Krakoa era. So I'm so it's so far behind. Uh,
Well, yeah.
I did look. I told y'all it's spring. I'm busy doing gardening stuff. I'm out there in the pollen and the heat and everything like that. I actually spent like 6 hours on Wednesday doing. Well, I have two gardens right now. Well, technically I have two and a half because I put a garden in from one of my friends, and I'm gonna continue to work on that one. I have one in at my aunt's place, which is in the next city over. So I went and worked on that for like 6 hours and planted some things. And after I get off the podcast today, I'm gonna do some more stuff outside. Yes, I touch grass, y'all. I actually do more time touching grass than I do nerdy things, believe it or not. But that said, I did do some nerdy stuff. Hey, y'all know I love the movie theater. I don't get out as much as I should, but I'm trying to get back into it. So this week, They Will Kill You with Zazie Beetz dropped at the theater. I went and saw it. It's a fun ass movie, especially if you enjoy stuff like if you like the movie Nobody or if you like the movie Ready or Not. Both are really fun movies. It's kind of like a combination of the two things, or even like something like The Raid, where it's you're going through a building fighting and all that stuff. Sadie Beats is so like I'm not sure why I'm not a bigger fan of hers. I don't understand why I'm not bigger fan of hers. I liked her as Domino. I did not watch Atlanta, so I cannot speak to her outside of that. But she looks great in this. She's doing her own stunts. There's a lot of like gonzo action, ridiculous practical effects and blood spurting and shit like that. Fun camera angles. It's a fun movie. Like it's not the plot's pretty thin. Um, it's about a woman who's trying to save her sister from a satanic cult that owns a building. So think like if she went to she went into a building and she's got to fight her way through it. Basically, a lot of fun stuff happening in it. She kind of like John McClane in that she's not perfect. She gets hurt, but she's not gonna stop anything. It's really fun. And I suggest you go see it with a very lively and rowdy crowd because you'll enjoy it even more. Um, so also I've been watching more Welcome to Dairy with my daughter. That is a great show. If you like any of those like the It Chapter 1 and 2 movies, you should be watching it. I think it's awesome. It's Pennywise is a motherfucker. What else is there to say? He was taking it easy on the kids in It Chapter 1 and 2 because good God, he y'all don't even know he's brutal. And we actually,
he really hates kids.
oh, it's not, it's
a lot.
everybody, it's everybody. But there's
Oh.
oh, go ahead.
No. I just never watched It Chapter 1 or 2 and never read the book. So yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
have no idea what's going on.
it's
I just saw a lot of pictures of like a clown, showing up from the sewers or something.
yeah,
And
pretty
basically,
much. But there's more to it than that. There's an angle of like there's a Native American aspect to that's really good. Like it's really cool actually. Um, there's racism involved. Like I've when in this show, you're like, well, actually, the real monster is racism, as it will be. But there's also like the military's trying to as they do trying to weaponize Pennywise, which surely that won't go wrong. It's a great show. I think you should be watching it. It even if you've never watched either of the It's, even it's that's fine. You'll still get something good out of this. I caught the first episode of the Three Body Problem on Netflix. It's really good. I need to watch more of it. I love sci-fi stuff, so it's like a really interesting thing about encountering aliens. Also, and this is just this is for my personal pleasure on social media. I got to witness via threads Alan Richson being a fucking boss, cause some magatard wanted to, it literally physically stopped him from, like, got in the way of him, when he and his sons were riding motorcycles through their neighborhood. He stopped him and made him, like, basically fall off of his bike, and then proceeded to talk shit. And then Alan Richson, who is a mountain of a man, y'all. If you've ever seen Reacher or any, like, look, dude's like 6'4", he's huge and muscular. And this guy, he was trying to be like, yo, just chill out, like, don't bother me. And the guy approached him and pushed him and all that, and then he got beat down because don't be. I mean, I'm just saying, people they've forgotten about, like, catching hands. Like, there's a lot of rough. I always say there's a lot of reckless talking on the internet. There's a lot of reckless talking people person to person because they're like, oh, the law will you don't want to go get in trouble. You ain't gonna throw hands. Alan Richardson put his hands on this man, rightfully so, in defense of himself, and he's not in trouble or anything. Then when the guy posted it trying to, like, get sympathy, they were like, everybody's like, no, we from the camera, it looks like it's you did it. And then Alan Richardson had a body cam and showed what happened from his perspective too, and this guy literally provoked him and started the shit. And while the guy is asking for sympathy, there's a big old red "Make America Great" hat again, because of course there are. Oh,
but what was the problem? Why did he even get into
he was like, y'all are making all these, y'all rolling through our neighborhood on these loud motorcycles and all this other stuff, and I'm sick of it. Well, you know what? It's a
I hate that too when people do that.
It's a fucking street, though. Like, and if you
but here's how loud motorcycles are. I'm not defending the MAGA person, but I really do hate when people ride motorcycles through the neighborhood. It's very inconvenient and it's very inconsiderate.
I get it. I'm not even. And my thing is whether or not he was right or wrong to do that. That's not really. I mean, that's not really what I'm getting at. You know how you address that? You flag the guy down and be like, hey, this is kind of like not cool. Like you're very loud and it's kind of like noise pollution. It would be cool if you if maybe, go some,
Fair, but I would not flag a guy who's like this big.
You could, that's the thing is, here's the thing about Alan Richardson that people don't understand. He's a big dude. He's actually, my understanding from everyone, all the thing I've seen online, I don't know him personally, obviously, but he seems to be a pretty easygoing guy. Most got big dudes.
Yeah, but you don't know that from.
Yeah, I get it.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
But why would you? Why would you literally stand in front of he got in the street?
That is even more stupid.
I'm just like, but even if you flag the guy down, Like Alan Rich and Bishop, and he was with his kids too. That's the other fucking thing. That's the thing. It's not like it was a motorcycle gang. It was him and two of his sons. Like
Well, if they're anything like him, that
and
doesn't look like a motorcycle
they
gang.
were little, and those guys' sons looked like they were like middle school kids. But
Why were they on the bike?
they were just going for a drive. That's it. They have their own little
On
motorcycles.
bikes.
Yeah,
Like
on motorcycles.
plural.
I'm sorry. You're not from America. People do this all the time. Like they'll buy their kids little miniature versions of like motorcycles, and they'll just go for joyrides. That's it.
And they're just as loud as the big ones.
Probably. So.
Oh, fuck them kids, where is Pennywise when you need them?
I think what I want to get at here is that, like, seriously, all you really had to do was just be like flag him down and be like, hey, these are kind of loud, and you guys do this kind of often. Like it'd be nice if you like would be more considerate of us, and that could have been the end of it, right? Alan Richardson, I think he seems like a fairly. I've never heard anything about him being like an ass. He could be reasonable, like, you know what? I understand your concerns. We'll do better. That could have been the interaction, but the interaction actually was him getting punched because he stood in front of him, and when Alan Richards was like, "Hey, chill out," the other guy was like, "Fuck you."
If you take the MAGA elements out of it, then it's just one asshole stopping another asshole, and then two assholes getting in a fight. Yeah. I don't see a hero in this story. I punching him because he's a MAGA nut.
No, it wasn't that.
That would be an entirely different story. But if you were making noise in the neighborhood, then you're the asshole too.
Yeah, so. I think the fun when I say he's being a boss, like if you watch the interaction, he's literally just like, "Hey, just chill. Like, then don't put your hands on me. Like you endangered me. I could have like hurt myself for real." And the other guy was basically escalating it, and he was like, "Stop." And then when he wouldn't, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna stop you." But the real question is, what in the world makes you think that this is a good idea? The guy's huge. That's all I'm saying. I think you'll like this better. Christina Ricci is on Threads, and she was being a menace. She's been a menace. She was being an absolute menace. If you were posting conservative stupid shit, she was on your ass, and I was living for it. We didn't know, we weren't aware of Wednesday Addams' game, but it's pretty tight. Let me just say, she was giving them hell. And then I was like, first of all, let me follow. Second of all, I started going back through her replies, and she has got smoke for days. She has got all the smoke for if you're posting dumb shit, patriarchy shit. If you're posting MAGA shit, she is on your ass so hard. So I love that and everybody was like, "Oh shit, she's here and she's going hard," and everyone was just like, just living for it. I was too. I'm saying, if she's on that energy right now, so it's a fuck them energy, and I'm all for it. So it's good to know that your heroes are, they're good and they're actually heroes, and not just on they just play them on screen. Anyway, that was my nerdy shit this week. But I did do some nerding on a budget. You want to do some of that? Well, let's do some nerding on a budget. Nerding on a budget this week is going to be pretty dope, I think. If I can find, there we go. Nerding on a budget.
Not for a budget, it's not.
It as you like to say, technically there was a budget. But in my case, I actually got some great deals. And let me see if I can pull this out. I forgot to take these guys out of the package, but I'll see if I can do it. We'll do a live unboxing, even though I don't have a pair of scissors to do this. So I went to the movies last night to see They Will Kill You, and I got out, and I was like, okay, Ross isn't closed yet. They're still open. I can just slide over there real quick and just see what they got. Like last time I went over there, like earlier in the week, it was nothing. But I was like, you got to check every day, right? Or if you can. So I was just like, let me just go over there real quick and see what they got. So first thing I see when I walk in, they put the toys in different places. But this was near the register. But I got. Let's make sure I don't
So
have
they
a
actually were
glare.
trying to hide them from you.
There was like 5 of these and up front. Vernestra Rowe, which is if you watch the Acolyte, she's a Jedi Master. If and more importantly, she was like one of the big ones that wasn't Yoda. But if you actually read any of the High Republic stuff, at the very first High Republic book, she is a newly minted Jedi Knight in the High Republic, and she's actually the main character in one of the kind of a young adult or young readers novels where she's the main character and she has a someone who eventually becomes her Padawan. But this is her years later, so because the Acolyte takes place probably what was it 100 years before the A New Hope.
Don't remember.
Or no, I'm sorry, 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So it's so she's at this point she's something like 100 years old. But either way, very cool. $8, totally worth it. Uh, I also I haven't got a Funko in a while. I got this dope thing for $10. Uh, I don't love Boba Fett. I really don't. And this is from the Mandalorian, by the way. Remember at the end, end of the episode where Boba Fett and Fennec Shan they come together and they take over. Um, they take over from what's his name, Jabba's palace and everything, and so that's from that. It's very cool. $10. I love it. This was the steal for me. Let me see if I can pull these guys out. I'll show you the box. This is so Infinity War. These are the Outriders. This is a 2-pack Marvel Legends figures. I got it for $10. If you look at it on Amazon, it's $40, and you could get it on eBay for like $25. So that's a steal. That's the nerding on a budget aspect. So I'm gonna pull out. I'm not gonna actually pose them or anything. I'm just gonna show you what you get. You get 2 of these figures. Look at these guys. He's got another head too. And then here's the other one. So these, of course, are the guys that were, with Thanos running up on Wakanda. So I got 2 of these for $10. $5 per figure is a steal. It'll never not be a great deal. I freaking came up. I can't wait. Now, because it doesn't have a good box or display, I will be putting it on the shelf back there. If you can see where my Marvel Legends are.
Who are they going to be attacking?
I think they're just going to pose stylishly. Because why wouldn't you? You got those 6 arms. Why wouldn't you? Strike a pose. Anyway, $30. They can Vogue with 4 arms. Who can? Nobody else can do that. See,
they have 2 heads.
That was $30 total. That was a huge win. So, you guys keep checking out on Ross and on Amazon and on Big Bad Toy Store. And if you got other places you can find cool stuff for the cheap, let me know. Because I want cheap toys. That's my thing. So, all right, that's all the nerding on a budget. So that means it's time for Polly Has Issues, where our resident comic book aficionado talks about the comics she's been talking about. She's been reading this week, which apparently was a lot of comics because she didn't have time for any movies. So you heard her. She had her nose in a book. So, Polly, what issues do you have this week?
You'd say it was a lot of issues and it was a lot of comics, but it actually was like I was trying to finish the John Byrne's run of She-Hulk, which I did. I finished it. It was quite a ride, but you know what? I was excited to start the next one, which was Dan Slott's run on She-Hulk, and that is like if John Byrne's run is the one that inspired the personality of She-Hulk that we saw in the show, then this run is it directly inspired the event. Well, more or less. She's working at a company at a God, what do they call
Law
a
law
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 firm?
firm.
Yeah, at a law firm. Just my brain blanked. She's working at a law firm that does superhero stuff and basically deals with superhero incidents and defends superheroes and sometimes supervillains. So it kind of like creates a conflict of interest for her at times, but at the same time, she just does really important and interesting work. And they use comic books as references, so that's pretty fun. She does not do as much fourth wall breaking as she used to in the previous round, but she does have like her supporting cast, like Mallory and Pug and all those people we saw on the show. They come from this show. Titania is featured a lot, obviously, so from this run. Yeah, and it has a really great art, a really great style, really great writing. It's very exciting. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm like well, a few issues in. I don't know how deep, but it's a very easy, fun, and light read. Really exciting. A lot of cameos as always, and well, She-Hulk doing her thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so
Nice.
that is the one thing that I read, yeah. And the other one I saw a lot of people posting about Ultimate Endgame, and I was gonna wait and read it a little bit later when it comes out fully, but I couldn't wait, and I didn't want anything spoiled because there is a big spoiler in this book, of course. Which I'm not gonna say, but this book is I remind you, it's kind of like the uh, pinnacle of everything that was happening in the previous runs in Ultimate Black Panther, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimates. So they're dealing with the maker. They're trying to kick the maker's ass. It's not going well. It's not easy, and well, but it's just read strange. It reads, and there is a doom read. So there's a lot of that going on. I do really recommend this book, and I do really recommend the like Ultimate series because it's really fun and it's really different from the main timeline, but it's really relevant too. That's that.
All right. So that's all your issues for the week.
Oh yeah.
I will say the was it the what do you call it, the She-Hulk run? Yeah, Dan Slott. We talked
Mhm.
about this briefly before we started, but yeah, Dan. I think Dan Slott hit his he doesn't. I don't think he gets enough credit uh, because I think it's because he's just so ubiquitous. He does so much. Like he did Spider Boy. I know people don't love Spider Boy, which is fine, but he introduces character. Like he's perfectly okay with introducing new characters. He's the reason why I'm just like hoping that Sadie Sink is jackpot, even though I know she's not. I'm sure she's not, but I'm just like I would love to see Jackpot be a character in the movies. So he created Mr. Negative. He's like he just loves comics, and I think he knows and understands enough about comics. He understands Spider Man very well. I think She Hulk is proof that like his breadth of knowledge about the MCU is good enough that he can make something out of a character that I'm not. She's not loosely defined. That's not what it is. But there are multiple ways to approach her as a character, and one of the ways, and I think the superior way, is to not treat her like a normal ass superhero. She does. Her income is not from being an Avenger or being, a substitute Fantastic Four member or running around and punching
I don't
bad
think that
guys.
pays. I don't think Reed pays substitute Fantastic
I
Four
mean,
members.
I
He
mean, somehow
is.
he'd have to compensate them because otherwise, why would they be on call? But you get what I'm saying?
Because like he's prestigious, and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I mean,
I don't think he pays anyone.
I think if but you get
Probably still use loose change.
he gives them stock options. Uh, but I like She-Hulk. I think works way better when she is in her professional capacity, right? Like I think as a lawyer, because it introduces a lot more interesting aspects rather than just running around and punching things. Because every like as Spider-Man, his biggest thing is, God damn, my job sucks, and like I need to pay rent. Well, aren't other superheroes caring about that too? I mean, maybe not Moon Knight because one of his,
He's
personalities is
broke
rich.
now.
One, yeah. Well, I
He
mean, now
yeah, he lost the money.
but they're like even Danny Rand. Like, there's a bunch of them. They can superhero because they ain't got nothing else to do. And She Hulk's like, no, I actually have a job, and it's a good and important job too. And just because I turn green doesn't mean I stop having to work. And so she
Well,
go, yeah,
there is a fun element to it because that just because I turned green, it kind of like the aspect that we got from the show. But on the contrary, when what we get in the comics is she likes to be green. She
yeah,
likes to be a superhero. She needs to work, but she wants to work as a She-Hulk.
yeah,
But in this company, in this particular company, one of the clause of her contract is that she has to work as Jen Walters. So she has to turn back to into Jen, and she has
hmm,
to like be Jen, and that creates a conflict again for her because she doesn't like being Jen. She
yeah,
likes being strong She-Hulk, but she doesn't. It's kind of like this book has a lot of layers that help us characterize her, that help us know more about her, what kind of person she is as both Jen and She-Hulk, and that's really great. A really great example of telling this story, which is something that previous books they didn't quite nail that.
yeah. They weren't as they didn't try to get as deep into the character. So I
Hmm.
like shout out to Dan Slott though, who you can also follow on Threads, by the way. All right, so cool. So let's get into our news for the week, which, well, of course, I'm switching to the wrong ones. So our news for the week is going to be we're going to talk about the brand new Day trailer, and it's setting records. And also, we'll talk about Wonder Man. Got some great news. Uh, Powers, which is from Brian Michael Bendis, also getting great news. OpenAI, bad news. But unless you like, if you love AI slop, bad news. If you don't, yay. Then we're going to talk about the marvelous year that we have to look forward to, and Doomsday, good or bad for Marvel, and then Invincible season 4 episodes 1 through 4 discussion mainly for me, and then we're going to talk about the first episode of Daredevil Born Again season 2. It's going to be a good time. So let's go ahead and dive into that first one, which is there we go. Brand new Day trailer breaks records. It is, look, everyone was talking about it. Remember, we talked about it last week. Everyone was just like going crazy, absolutely crazy about it. I'm sure New Rockstars was like, thank the Lord, they're giving us all this content to do. We can make 3 videos out of this one trailer, and they surely did. And every other like content creating nerd platform definitely spent their time. We got in on it, but we talked about it last week. We loved it. But apparently we're not the only ones, because there are so many people that watched this trailer to the tune of 1 billion views. 1 billion, right? Which is the first time any trailer has ever gotten 1 billion views. I'm assuming they're mean aggregate, not just on YouTube. 1 billion total views across social media, which is a record. It's the most viewed trailer of all time. I guess people are excited for this thing. I don't know. It see
Nah, nah, that's just,
maybe a little.
just send it to a friend, they watch it.
Yeah, I mean,
Nobody's excited for this.
yeah,
Nobody cares.
not not at all. I mean, maybe that was just a bunch of monkeys in an alternate dimension clicking on the video. It could be.
Hmm.
We don't know. We can't put it past. Remember, everyone thinks that Disney paid for a bunch of seats, a bunch of tickets so that Captain Marvel will make $1 billion. So if they'll do that, they'll open a dimensional porthole to make a bunch of monkeys press buttons. I
don't
mean,
think. I think it was like very, very much Bob Iger's thing.
yeah,
I
Bob
think
Iger.
now that he left, they're not gonna do that instead.
Yeah, the new guy seems more like he's not as interested in monkey farms
In Mon
and
yeah.
and like Lex Luthor's dimension, but we don't know. We'll never know until 20 years from now. They'll be like, "There was a monkey farm. Did y'all know about it?" It's like y'all thought it was speculated, but here's the proof, and they'll show us video. There'll be like there'll be a whole podcast about it. But until then, we're just gonna assume that this is actual legitimate views. So a billion views
Yeah, but
across,
like one person can watch 10 times.
I mean, that still
And
counts.
to be fair, not all of those views are necessarily gonna translate into tickets. So
Well,
because like
yeah.
a lot of people watched from, I can imagine that like quite a lot of people watched it on YouTube from Russia, or like at any other platform that still works there. But their money wouldn't be good because
Yeah.
even if they go see it, it will be pirated. So Disney wouldn't get any of those money.
Yeah. I look at it as, and I think they look at it as too, is the buzz is what matters. People care,
That's true.
you know, like people care, and like yeah, there's gonna be tons of pirating. You can't get away from that, but there are a lot of people who are like, finally, I have a reason to go back to the damn movie theater. Like the next Spider-Man is coming out and looks dope. So good for them. I love this for them. I suspect this means that we better be on top of getting our tickets on the day they drop. 'Cause remember, this is coming out in like the end of June. Um, we'd better like be on top of that when they do pre-order tickets. Because I don't know about you, I'll be damned if I'm going to be sitting in a shitty seat at a crappy showing. I'm going to be in the best seat in the best theater at my local movie theater.
Yeah, I have two local movie theaters. I don't know if they're gonna show it, so I may have
That
to
is
travel to
wild.
another town.
Do they not?
That
What
is
do those movie theaters
no,
not
they
like
probably
money?
will show it for like a week. No,
What?
this they would definitely show. It's just not gonna be on
They
the
just
day
don't.
of the premiere. It's probably gonna be the day of American premiere, or I don't know. It's just complicated and doesn't show everything always. It's a whole
How
mess,
do you
but
how
I'll find a way.
how do you live like this? That sounds like hell.
You
That
know
sounds
what?
like hell.
Happily and quietly, I can go to a bigger town if
Hmm.
I need to. I can wait like watch something at my local theater. It's theater is
It's
not after all that that I know and I have seen. Theater doesn't seem like the most important thing in the world, and we have a few. They're pretty good. They're not IMAX level, but like I don't like IMAX anyway.
yeah. Well,
Well, I have to wear contacts, and I have to wear like 3D glasses, and my head spins, and I
yeah.
gotta have it.
No, I don't
I'm
like
good. I'm good
IMAX.
with 3D.
I don't really like IMAX 3. I don't like 3D in general. I don't really like IMAX,
Hmm.
but that's just because the IMAX at my local theater is really has a really uncomfortable seats. So I prefer the Dolby theater. I think it has better sound and it's got a huge
Hmm.
screen. It's
I
beautiful.
went
So
for Fantastic Four. We went to a 4D theater, 4DX, I
40x.
think, with the moving seats. That was really fun. That was really exciting. I might
Mm.
want to go see Spider-Man there because it would be, vomit fest, like spinning on the web,
It's
stuff like that. Might
you
be
know
fun.
I don't even really want all that, but I haven't actually done a 40x before. I'll try it though. Um,
Fun.
But this is cool. Good to know. We're geeked out, but like Spider-Man is such a huge character. Regular people are gonna be like, yeah, let's go see this too. So I'm excited. Good for them. Um, this is gonna be really quick because uh, Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Oeming years ago. This is 25 odd years ago. Created a what do you call it, a creator-owned series called Powers, which is about two FBI
Yes.
agents who basically have to police superheroes. What does that sound like? This was in a moment. This comic came out in a moment, and around the same moment that The Boys came out, and some other things. You know, there are various other things that came out around 25 years ago that were sort of deconstructing or trying to put a somewhat more realistic spin on superheroes, or come at it from a different angle, kind of like this, and like who watches the Watchmen, all that other sort of thing. I'm gonna say I never read this, so I have no actual expertise or understanding about the comic itself or the story. I do know Brian Michael Bendis though. He's one of my favorite like writers from that has done Marvel stuff. Created Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Uh, he did great things in the Ultimate Universe. He wrote on regular ass Spider-Man before. He's written, what I'm saying, he did a lot of stuff, right? And uh, he was at DC for a while. But this is a creator-owned thing, and they've done a live-action version of this show before, and it didn't do that well. But they're doing what I think is the smartest thing you can do with something like this that doesn't break the bank, and it's do the Invincible thing. Invincible could have been live action, and in fact, they're still developing a live action movie for Invincible, like they still are. But you notice we don't have it, right? Because I think it was they were developing Invincible live action at the same time they were developing Invincible for animation. And here we are. We're on season 4 of the animation. Hey, I've seen not a word. You haven't heard not a word about the live action Invincible. So it may as well not, it be a ghost. Like it's a thought and a prayer, but it's not a thing. And so, Powers has had a live action thing, and they're taking another swing at it because why not? In this moment when we have a Wonder Man, we've had Moon Knight, right? Peacemaker is doing well, right? We're about to get Lanterns. I don't think it could be a better time to be, and no, like Creature Commander. There's not a better time to be like, let me take this superhero IP. It's not connected to anything, but we don't have to care about that. We just need to tell some good stories, superhero IP, and make it animated so it's not as expensive, and it's not a big deal to who we cast, and then just make a banger ass animated show, and then keep it moving, and you'll get eyes on it. And this is Dark Horse, by the way, because they're the one that are currently publishing Powers, because Powers is still coming out. I think a new series, and they're gonna. I don't even know which studio is doing this. I didn't look that deeply into it. I just like the idea. Like, good. I Why the hell not? I want to watch good superhero stuff. Let's make some good. Make something. I'll watch it. Do you know this story? And
I have no idea. I had to Google it right now because I was thinking that, yeah, what are the chances of reading this in time of the release of the show? Because I'm interested in the premise, but I haven't read it. I don't remember hearing of it. I may have, but I do like Bendis' writing. I do like his stories. So yeah, it'd be interesting to first read it and then watch it. And that, like you said, that is a really decent idea to make something more popular, to put it into animation, and to not even bother with live action, because live action, it doesn't necessarily work for everything. I know that I wouldn't probably watch Invincible if it was a live action show. And well, I have watched a lot of Invincible. I don't not watch Invincible, okay?
right.
Just not watching it at the moment. But I probably wouldn't have watched it if it was not an animated movie, if it was a live action movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the animation just gives you so much freedom, like freedom from like really, it's freedom as far as the actors are concerned because it's just voice acting. You don't even have to have the people in the same place at the same time. They can record their stuff separately, and you just bring it together, right? So it's convenient for the actors. It's cheaper. You don't have to worry about aging. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's like, and people are becoming more open to animation as a venue for like more serious things, right? Scavenger's Reign is one of those things, like or Primal, or Velma is it's that show sucks, but you get what I'm saying. There's so much more freedom and accessibility, and people. I think when you live action for some reason feels like a bit more of a commitment. So when you do it animated, it's a lot easier, right? And it can build a niche because it doesn't cost so much. It can build a smaller but more dedicated fan base, and not worry so much about the cost of like live action. So I'm
Yeah, and hopefully
yeah
we wouldn't have that many cancellations of shows
yeah
that people are actually watching.
I think even on Netflix. Netflix is really putting money into animation. There's 2 seasons of the Lara Croft Tomb Raider show right now, right? And that's just one. They did Arcane for 2 seasons. They did. Um, I'm trying to remember what was the other one. They've got a lot of animated stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like Castlevania. So this is a great idea, and I don't know this show. I don't know this story, but I'm interested to see what they do. So we'll keep an eye out and let you guys know when it's ready to release, or at least get a trailer. Um, more great news. This is awesome news, actually. I would have made this a more of a main news topic instead of a quick news topic, but we could have sat there and just reiterated everything we said about how great this show is. We got awesome news from the showrunner of Wonder Man that we are getting season 2 officially. It is green lit. Marvel, thank God. You guys, look, you guys are got some damn sense. I am so serious. I even posted it. I think Black Girl Nerds was like, "Are they gonna? Is Marvel gonna actually learn and like actually invest in more stories, like stories like this?" And I was like,
No.
and I posted the meme about Steve Rogers being like, "No, I don't think I will." Right? Thank God, you guys. Thank you for proving me wrong. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, you had to be hit over the head repeatedly by literally everybody who's ever watched this show and got on social media and was like, "At Marvel, what's up with season 2? At Marvel, this show is amazing." That they had the Rotten Tomatoes is like, I think it's 94%. All the critical acclaim, like we all collectively, unintentionally but collectively, mounted a campaign to be like, renew this goddamn show. What is wrong with y'all? Why are y'all taking so long? But after because it came out in January, so after about 6 weeks, they're like, yes, let's do season 2, and that's amazing. I don't even know what they can do with this show. I don't know. Where do we go from here? I don't know, but it's fine. I don't care. They because when they posted this, they showed like a script, like when they were saying they greenlit it. So I'm like, that's probably not an actual script. It's probably a treatment for the second season. I don't give a damn. They've got an idea. They're bringing back the showrunner. Let's go. I'm so happy about this. This is one of the best things Marvel has said, period, in the last year. Anyway, go ahead. What did you think about when you saw this news?
Well, I do love hearing the news that it's gonna get a season 2, but I do have a question, like, is this actually the I mean, I understand that the show is really popular, but is this actually one of the shows that needs a season 2? Because to me it was a story that was told, and that was told well, that doesn't necessarily need a continuation, but yeah, okay, it does need to lead to something, but not necessarily a season 2. Because like at this point it's more or less public information, so he has to cross paths with some other heroes, in my opinion. But at the same time, as I said, there are other shows that didn't quite get the time or the momentum to grow and to build the audience, and when they did, and we don't necessarily know that they did, but like they kind of like could have used the season 2 much more, because we have this situation with Moon Knight, we have this situation with Ironheart, we have this situation with several other shows. So yeah, I would really like to see what's gonna happen there too, but I guess that's not gonna happen. But yeah, it's good
Yeah.
that they're learning that some shows. I do feel like this show has some kind of like divine protection or something, because it's not a show I would expect to get a season two. It's not a show I would expect to become so popular, and it's despite it being good, it's definitely not a show I would expect them to wanna continue.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
I
I
think.
just feel
Yeah.
it just feels awful on very many levels. As happy as I am to see where it's gonna take us, it just feels weird.
Yeah.
I want to know what's behind all that.
Why? Well, I think I can answer that question. One, it's cheap. You can tell that you look as beautiful. Look, I think it's a great looking show. So I'm not taking anything away from it, but this is not an expensive show. This is just people talking to each other on different locations, right? Um, and it doesn't have a bunch of like big ticket people in it. I mean, it's got two big ticket people in it. That is, of course, Yahya Abdul Mateen the second and Sir Ben Kingsley. But I mean, I don't think this cost a lot. And so if they can do the same things they did in the first season and keep the cost down, this is a simple no-brainer, especially given how popular the actual show was, how many minutes of streaming they got. I think this makes a lot of sense as for monetarily. Second of all, it allows them to continue special presentations where they build out the universe and also allow people to get into a new character without having so many stakes or having to, and having like a high investment cost. By that I mean, oh man, I got to go watch this, got to go watch that. No, it's just a guy. It's a guy in the MCU. It's fine. You don't have to be so heavily invested in order to get into this. And I also think this is about maintaining good relationships. Like, I'll use Sydney Sweeney as a example. Sydney Sweeney literally, and I've said this before, but I'll reiterate, she did Madam Web so that they would let her make that rom com with Glenn Powell. That Sony would pay for her to do that rom com with Glenn Powell, right? Which did fine. I think it did fine monetarily. Madam Web was trash, and she said, "I did it so that they would do this." Right? That was her thing. This if this is about maintaining good relationships with two actors who you want to continue, like they obviously are going to want Trevor to come back. That's like he's too good, right? And you're going to want to continue to have a good working relationship with Yahya Abdul Mateen, who is in demand. He's like he literally is about to have the Man on Fire TV show remake. Of that movie he's remaking as a TV show. He's the lead in that. He's a leading man. He's in demand. You want to keep him like in good standing with your studio, so he shows up for things when you want to do stuff with them. I mean, it makes sense to me. I think this is a lower cost of investment show
Well, yeah, lower
yeah.
cost. It kind of explains things, because like both the shows that I mentioned were pretty expensive because of CGI, I guess. Even though you don't necessarily have to go all out with CGI, have to be creative and work around it, but they still choose not to continue.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we'll see.
eh,
Maybe they will learn to do it cheaper, to do it like more efficiently, and to bring us the result. I don't know. The animation is also always an option. So
yeah, I mean, this is probably why She-Hulk is not. There's no impetus on that. Between the toxic fandom, they don't care that much about those guys. What the real problem with She-Hulk getting a season two is cost. Just the cost. They even acknowledge it in the show. They acknowledge that the cost of She-Hulk being She-Hulk is significant. Like to actually be on screen as She-Hulk is significant. They acknowledge it within the show. Um, so that between that and like it wasn't like it didn't have amazing reviews and I think its viewership was fine. There's some downsides to it, and then Tatiana Maslany is not a big ticket name. She just isn't. She's a great actor. She did her thing in in there, she's not a big name. So Wonder Man's got two names that again they want to continue to work with, and people know them. They're again as time goes on, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, his face is there. His face is there. People are seeing him more. Nobody, Tatiana Maslany is working, but not in big things. So I get why She-Hulk might not be the thing you want to green light for season 2. I get that. It's just the calculus on it is not as good. But I hope so. All right, so cool. I can't wait to see what they do with it. We'll see this in 3 years. Our other bit of quick news: OpenAI shuts down Sora, its video copyright infringement AI, and Disney exits its deal as a result. So we also talked about this last month as what a loss. Well, a loss for everybody except for Sora and Disney, because we were going to get official AI slop from for Disney. Thank God this shit is not happening right now, because OpenAI just out of nowhere just shuttered and shut down Sora 2, the video copyright infringement engine it has that everyone loves so much, except everyone who doesn't like AI. No explanation. They just said, "Hey, we're gonna figure out how to get y'all's your videos that you've already saved and all this other stuff, but we're not doing it anymore." I think it's because they don't see any way out of the lawsuits that are definitely in there that are
Well,
on the
I
verge.
hope so.
I think that they probably
Because
see. Yeah.
only the only thing that keeps them from doing this shit is like the fear of bigger fish coming after them.
Yep. This is why they sort of like tried to make a sweet deal with Disney, but the studios can be like, all right, fine, we'll get in bed with you, but that doesn't mean the actors have to. You're talking about licensing individual actors' likenesses, so you have to negotiate with every single actor, right? It's not like, because like think about it like this: the record industry, they sort of get a way around this with streaming. Once streaming became a real thing, and they were like, "We want our money because you're playing our music." The RIAA, the recording industry, whatever. It's basically a conglomeration of people. They represent artists in general. They're like, "All right, you need to compensate us. You compensate us, and we'll dole the money out to each person by how much y'all play their music, right?" So that's easy, cool. The streaming services can just deal with one entity, and that entity gives money out. They sort out the money from there. There ain't no such thing for actors. I mean, sure, there's the Actors Guild. Sure, that exists, but they're not. That's not. It's not their job. The Writers Guild is a union, and they do not take money in and then spread it out amongst people. It is up to the studios to give residuals and royalties to each individual actor based on what they do and their contracts or whatever. So the actors have contracts with the studios. They don't have a contract with the writers or with the Actors Guild. So there's no central place for anybody to like negotiate how are we going to pay people for using their likeness. You got to go to each individual person. That's already a legal nightmare, because if one slips through the cracks and they don't have a license, they're gonna sue you. All right. Beyond that, there's also the IP owners, and just because Disney was like, "All right, cool, you can do this," that doesn't mean Warner Brothers or Paramount are with it, or any of the many studios that exist. Right? There are so many studios. Even if you say, "All right, I got all the major studios." Okay, what about the small studios? All right, well, I got the small studios. All right, what about the independent people? You got to deal with all of them. There's no single entity that deals with all of them. This is a legal nightmare for them. But they've been skating along because they're like, free speech and fair use and blah blah blah. It's pretty clear they're not going to win that. Right? They're not.
Hopefully.
They're not going to win the fair use argument. because they're literally just copying other people's shit and then making new shit from it. And that's copyright infringement. Anybody with half a fucking brain cell knows that. And they don't have any.
Hopefully they don't find a way around it.
There is no way around, because look, when I go online and I get like when I go online and I get an image for the podcast, that's fair use, because I'm using the image as a part of a discussion about the thing, right? The image that's for this particular segment, somebody else made it, but it's fair use because I'm using the image not to repackage the image and sell it as my own. I'm discussing the subject that the image is portraying. So we're actually, we're having a free use of it because it's a part of a commentary and opinion about it. They're not doing that. They're just making brand new shit with the same characters or the same likenesses or in the style of or whatever. That's copyright infringement. And that if you went out right now and photocopied, or even, let's say, forget photocopy. Let's say you took a picture of Spider-Man and you hand drew the same picture of Spider-Man, but you moved his arm a bit. It's copyright infringement. And you tried to sell it, it's copyright infringement. That's just what it is.
Greg Landley's for that.
I mean, Greg, we're not going to do that. Or no, we're not doing that. Greg, that's just no. We'll another time. But no, but that's copyright infringement. You try to sell it as like your own. Copyright infringement, by the way, happens all the time on the internet. But there's a way to do it where it's like a pastiche or like something. There's fair use of it, but there's where you can make money off it. But it's got to be a pastiche or some kind of like a parody's fine, that sort of thing. But it cannot be straight up. Here's my AI, video generation engine, and I'm gonna make a 1 minute short, a Spider-Man beating up Kingpin. You can't do that. And then try to sell it. That's illegal. So anyway, OpenAI takes a loss. Disney's like, well, there's no reason to fuck with y'all if y'all are not going to use your Sora thing for our AI slop. And AI artists around the world are crying. It sounds like a great day to me. I don't know what you're talking about. This is amazing. Like, I mean, I'm just like, I'm sitting up here enjoying. I'm just, I'm almost making wine out of the tears from these non-artists.
Let's do text generation AI next.
Oh man, what's it?
Because that shit is killing my job.
You talking about the text? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I mean, AI. I think I'm of two minds about generative AI. One, it's not really AI, so let's stop calling it that. It's just really good at guessing. It's a really good guessing engine. But which to be fair, we're good guessing engines too, based on our prior experience. So it's really good at guessing things, and I don't necessarily hate the fact that it can do stuff like summarize things or whatever. Fine.
Oh yeah, sure. It's just I hate this that it writes for many people.
Yeah,
that bugs me.
Depending on what the fuck it is, I'm not even necessarily bothered by that. Look, humans, we generate a lot of data, and a lot of it is fucking useless. I do it myself. I know. Every one of my posts on Threads is data. It's not necessarily useful or interesting or good data or data that we want to keep around or anything like that. But we generate a ton of data, and some of it is, I think AI could do it about as good as anybody, as average ass person can do, and we'll get the same results. So I'm not necessarily 100% against generative AI. I just need it to be doing drudgery, stopping our drudgery as opposed to replacing our creativity. That's my problem. Sure. Like I like the little tasks like fixing spreadsheets and shit like that, don't nobody want to do that. And it's a waste. It's a waste of human creativity and human effort when a computer can just do it more or less just about as good. And people be like, well, you're taking away somebody's job. That's a drudge job. That's like saying, hey, the Roomba is going to replace, a janitor. We want that. We want that. Why does
Yeah, but
why?
you know what?
Yeah,
We want that because, in theory, it all works when people have universal basic income. But they're not
right.
going to do that.
Well, it would
They're
work.
not just going to
Well,
do that.
I think it would work. Like because I want someone
Not
to.
America.
Well, someone make a case for me why it's preferable to have a human doing janitorial work as opposed to a robot doing it. Just make a case for me why it's preferable. If they can do, and I'm not saying they can do it equally well. That's not what I'm saying. Let's just say that they can do it equally well. Why is it preferable that an actual human being does it as opposed to a robot?
Well, if you find a source of income for the actual humans, then
That
an
so
alternative source of income, then yeah.
if
If
so
you
it
don't, then the argument is invalid.
yeah, the argument essentially is because that person needs a job. All right, well, why can't we have
Because they need to food, shelter, and
no, I get
money
that.
to go around and do things.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a job. I'm just saying why does it have
These
to be?
things, they don't exist, in separate vacuums.
Yeah, yeah.
They are
That
interconnected. So while
that
we're talking about something about one part, we're talking about the other
right.
part.
That's
So unless they fix the source of the problem, then
yeah.
yeah.
I think my thing is generative AI for creativity is stupid because it's not creative. It's just copying, right? It's just very
Yeah.
elaborate. It's just very elaborate copying. It's no different than people
It's
who
not doing a good job
yeah,
of copying
it
either.
it's no different and it's worse than someone who forges, art or who does fine art forgery or
Well,
counterfeit
there is
or
again there
counterfeit
is
money.
forgery, and then there is copying that artists actually do learn by copying
Yeah,
works of famous artists, and sometimes yeah you see copies in museums, so
yeah,
that also happens.
or it's even, when I say because there have been cases of art forgery where someone purports this to be a lost Picasso or
Yeah,
a
yeah, of
lost
course.
and it's just someone who's really really good at aping the style and then make something new that looks like it could have been made by, and that's pretty much what generative AI went in terms of picture creating pictures and creating film or whatever videos is pretty much doing, right? And you could even argue that it's sort of doing that with text, where it's you could very easily feed all of J.K. Rowling's prose in and get um any prose she's ever written any prose that J.K. Rowling has ever written can be fed into one of these
A
algorithms.
garbage bin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could argue that's what one of these things is, but it would and you'd be like, all right, now using everything you know about how she writes, write a book about a trans wizard uh, that's fighting against transphobes, and they could do it, and it would come out with something that
Oh,
sounds
that I like.
it sounds more or less like what she would write, and it wouldn't even be all that hard. It's essentially forgery, and they know it. That's the thing is that they know it. It's not inspired by. It's not. We're taking that particular trope that we saw in this movie we really like, and we're doing something new with it. It's not that. It's just forgery, and no one likes no. I mean, you might like that piece of forged art, but it's not genuine, and it's not doing anything new. That's the real deal there. There's no actual creativity there. And for most people who know, they don't give a shit about it. They could care less. All they care about is give me something to kind of while away my time, and it's just got to be good enough. But this is far afield from what we're talking about. All I'm trying to say is, y'all, let's pop a bottle. Let's pop some bottles. OpenAI, they, I don't know what they do with their lives after this, since Sora is out the door. But this is a victory.
Well, they
for,
still have ChatGPT.
well, I mean, that's true. And
They ain't gonna be broke anytime soon.
ChatGPT is the source of so many so many people's bad arguments and ideas. Yeah, but we'll talk about that another day. So let's see how does Disney do AI slop now. We're gonna find out soon. I'm assuming. So those are all our quick things. Let's talk about something dope, which is I said we're in the superhero spring, right? Cool. And it's true. And that's because, we have Invincible, Daredevil, and the boys. But Marvel is just like, they're gonna be on a tear this year. I like the Marvel Reader posted this list, and I was like, we got to talk about this, just because I did, I knew these things were coming out. Well, like, we all knew these things were coming out. I didn't realize how wild it was, how much was coming out. I even was going to make one of these out, the announcement of one of these things as one of our topics, but then I realized we didn't really have anything to talk about except it was announced. And that was immediately after Daredevil Born Again is over, like the week after the final episode comes out. We get Punisher One Last Kill, right? Which is the Punisher special that we knew was coming, that we saw pictures of. We talked about that. But it was John Bernthal posted that on social media, and we just got an image. That's the main reason why I was like, let's not talk about this yet, because there's no trailer. There's just this, right? There's a little synopsis, but it wasn't much. But it is interesting. No, in May we're getting Punisher One Last Kill special presentation. Like 2 weeks after that, on May 27th, Spider Noir hits on Amazon, and I think it drops all at the same day. So we're gonna have a whole show to watch on May 27th. Skip June, July, Spider-Man Brand New Day at the July 31st. We haven't gotten a date yet, but X-Men 97 is coming out this coming summer. So I'm gonna assume it's probably June, but maybe it's August. One of the two. They're gonna try not to step on Spider-Man Brand New Day. So X-Men 97, they're re-releasing Avengers Endgame in September, and I'm for sure going to go see that. I don't know about you, Polly. I don't know what you're doing with yourself.
They don't re-release the movies here. When they do re-release them in theaters in America, they don't do it.
They just don't like money.
Well, not usually. I don't know.
I'm convinced they don't like money.
Well, it does. If Disney tried to do that, they probably, like, if Disney offered this to any other theaters around the world, then yeah, I would probably agree to do that, and they would probably definitely do it. I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't think that's happening.
Oh, well, in America, the land of the free and home of the hyper consumerism, we are going to be watching that again. And
haha, free.
I mean, I didn't say it was free to live here. I just said it's free.
Wow.
So we're September 25th. That's happening. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. They haven't announced when it's coming out. Just sometime this fall. Vision Quest is coming out, I believe, if it's not November, it's not December, but it's gonna be like November-ish, some October, November-ish. And then Avengers Doomsday, December 18th. Look, that's a crazy lineup. A lot of it's on TV, a lot of it's gonna be on Disney Plus. I get that. But we're getting two banger animations, second seasons. X-Men 97 and Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 2. Are you crazy? Last year, those things were like the top tier. So we're getting second seasons of both of those. Re-release of Endgame, I mean, one of the greatest comic book movies ever. Spider-Man Brand New Day. We already talked about everyone's geeked up for that. Punisher, everyone's kind of like what's happening. I think it's going to have a ton of momentum coming out of Daredevil. Um, Vision Quest, I've given my reservations about that, but I'm still ready to see that. I mean, you're talking about, like 10 things coming out this year that are Marvel related, and I didn't even include the video games, which is, they're supposed to be the Sony's supposed to be putting out the Wolverine video game, and then the Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra video game that's got pushed
Yeah,
back to
those
the end of
are.
the year.
I don't think those are happening anytime this year, and I think that half of the
Well,
shows that we haven't had the release date for yet, they're gonna be either close to the end of the year or maybe even pushed back. So,
yeah, I think that they definitely said X-Men 97 during the summer. So they had
well, it's
just
supposed to,
they
yeah.
just haven't put a date on it. But let's just be hyper optimistic and say everything that's on this list is going to come out, right?
I'm gonna
So
be more realistic and say that
why,
probably not.
why you got to be like that? Don't do don't do that. Look, you have to get hyped like I am. I saw this
I
list and
can't.
this is wild. We know
I
Spy.
was like, I forgot about Vision Quest and I forgot about Punisher. Jesus, what is even this show? I really forgot about half of those things because they were supposed to come out at some point and they were announced at some point and then they just went to the development limbo. And I don't know. I just think that some things we haven't even seen the trailer for X-Men 97 yet.
We
What
saw
kind of
that little bit. We saw that little leaked stuff that they had at
Yeah,
like New
it
York
was
Comic Con.
not enough. It was not a trailer, and if it's coming out as sometime this summer, then it's about time we saw that. So
Yeah,
show
I
me the
agree.
trailer.
That trailer is if it's coming out in June. Let's see, what is it about to be? If it's coming out in June, we'll get a trailer within the next month. Um, if it's coming out in August, we will get a
Better be.
we'll get a trailer. We'll probably get a trailer in late May, early June. So that's likely there. That's it's all about momentum and keeping people engaged. And if you go too early, it's not going to do it. Um, Punisher is coming up very soon, but it is a special presentation. But I think they're going to push it hard because he's going to be in Brand New Day. So they're definitely going to try to use that momentum. Spider Noir, we know for sure it's coming out on May 27th. They've set a date. So everything after that, yeah. Um, look, let's again try to remain optimistic. Let's say only one of these things gets bumped because of whatever. I think if any of these get bumped, I think it's Vision Quest. If any of them get bumped, I think it's Vision Quest because I'm pretty sure X-Men 97 is pretty much cut and ready to go. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man probably needs a little bit more work, but if it's coming out in the fall, that you're talking about possibly September, it's probably its final episodes are being worked on right now, and I think that they also I think they developed Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with the idea because they renewed it for season 2 really like before it came out, so they already knew they were going on to another season, so they didn't really have to stop working on the show. That's why I feel like they're definitely going to hit their mark. um and of course Doomsday, it's set in stone. We know what's up. um what a year. What a year, what a year to be a Marvel fan, um if or a comic book fan in general, uh and an animation fan in particular. We're
That
gonna be
sound good, yeah.
eating good. So well, we're gonna keep an eye on this. We're ready for that Punisher trailer, which I suspect we will get within the next couple weeks. um let's talk about Doomsday. Doomsday, of course, is a day that if you're a nerd and you got time, it's going to be great for you. If you're a nerd and you don't got time, you're going to have to be making a very tough choice because as I say on this caption, will Doomsday be good or bad for Marvel? I'm really curious how you feel about this. First of all, Doomsday is the new Barbenheimer. Barbenheimer, if you recall the kind of the lead up to it. What it was, first of all, it was fun. That's a fun little moment in time where two movies that are big ticket movies, that people were excited about, instead of stepping on each other's toes and trying to duke it out, they were like, go see both. Why not? And it fucking worked, right? Everyone went out to see Barbie. Everyone went out to see Oppenheimer. Some people
I
picked
didn't see
some,
Oppenheimer.
some people picked one. I will agree. Some people picked one, but a lot of people actually went and saw two. And in fact, they made it a whole thing that they were going to do it. You remember all the ladies that were going out, the pink ladies going out to see Barbie, but they were also saying, "Hey, we're going to go see Oppenheimer too." And people that are like, "Yeah, I'm going to go see Oppenheimer, but I'm going to try to go see Barbie." It was a cultural moment that was built up by the fans, and not the studios only picked up on it once they realized, like, oh, okay, this is a thing. We'll do. The executives, they didn't fucking know. They don't know how to make shit viral. But it was a thing. I enjoyed. I saw both of them. I did go see both of them that weekend. Enjoyed both movies. I thought it was a great deal. I love that people were having fun with it. That's it. If we as fans can just go and just enjoy things and make it a moment, make it an experience, awesome. I love to see it. Now, can they make fetch happen with this? That's the question.
Well, in this economy,
Can they make fetch happen with Dune and Doomsday? Because they ain't, neither one of them moving. These are two. This is like two two giant oil tankers side by side trying to get through the Suez Canal. They're like, I
but
don't
you
give a
know
fuck.
what?
I was here first. I was here first. No, I was here. They're doing like this, and they're both trying to get. They're gonna get stuck in the turnstile. They're just, you both can't go through at the same time. I don't think, but they're trying to make it. They're trying to make it a thing.
It's really easily solved, though. And which one would you be afraid of getting spoiled? Oh, yeah.
Oh, Doomsday, easily. Shit.
There you
That's not even
go.
a
There is
question.
your answer. Everybody knows what the fuck is happening in the Dune book, Dune books. So nobody's gonna be surprised by anything there. What are they gonna spoil for you in Dune? So yeah, everybody's first choice is gonna be Doomsday.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, and by the way, shout out to
Dune for trying.
well, no, I want to say shout out to Florence Pugh, who's going to be in both of them on the same day. Good for her. But my question about it, is this good or bad for Marvel? It's bad for Marvel.
It's not bad for Marvel.
No, I'll explain it. This is, see, the thing about Barbie and Oppenheimer is that they are not the same audience. They just aren't. Now they ended up having people, the Venn diagramming of Barbie and Oppenheimer. There's a central part where a bunch of people did watch both, right? For various reasons. My wife wanted me to go. My girlfriend wanted me to go. My husband wanted to really see this, etc. There was a crossover audience between the two, but they, in general, Barbie and Oppenheimer are two different movies, kind of talking about two different things, different tones. They're not catering to the same people. They really aren't. The people that watch Dune are gonna want to watch Doomsday, and vice versa. They are the exact same audience, almost to the person, are the exact same audience. If anything, Dune may have a slightly wider audience in this, but it's less, it's more adult because I think it's a rated R movie, but it's going to be skew more adult, but it's going to have a somewhat more diverse audience versus Doomsday is going to, because it's PG-13, will have more kids in it, right? It'll be more four quadrant than Dune is. Both of them are big blockbuster movies that cost a lot of money and need to make a lot of money back. And I think Dune ultimately loses out on box office because of Doomsday, but I think that Marvel doesn't come out of it unscathed either. I think their box office could be higher if they didn't have a Dune sitting right next to it in the theater. Oh, and let's also not take away the fact that Dune has all the IMAX. It's exclusively that first weekend has all the IMAX. So Doomsday has no access to one of the premium formats that people really will go and spend more money on. So their ticket sales are by nature of the fact that they have no IMAX is already going to be less. So they're on the
Oh,
back foot.
that's stupid of them then, because
They didn't have a choice because Warner Brothers locked down IMAX screens way long time ago.
okay, why didn't they move the premiere then?
You know why? You know why? Remember, Doomsday was supposed to come out in summer. So when they pushed it back to December 18th, they couldn't demand IMAX screens because Dune already had it. So
yeah, so I still think that they're not gonna lose out on the views. They might lose out on the money. They will catch up probably the next week or like when they get the IMAX screens. But in general, like I don't see. I mean, I don't know if it's possible for people to go see two movies the same week.
That's the other thing. There's that. Remember I said it's bad, right? Look, this is not good. This is not good for either of them. They should not be on the same day, straight up. And I even mentioned, Jumanji 3 comes out the week before. They're gonna get buried. That movie, I can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to it. It is gonna get buried the next week. They're gonna get destroyed by both Doom and Doomsday. Here's the other thing. The reason why Barbenheimer could be a thing. Oppenheimer is long. That's a long ass movie. Barbie is a much more reasonable. I think it's under 2 hours. It's a much more reasonable size. You could watch both on the same day, and it's a lot, but it's not. Doomsday is about 3 hours long, and Dune 3 is about the same. So you're committing not 6 hours in seat. You're probably committing 8 hours of your life to seeing both in the same day, which is why I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna see.
Wait, did you say 4 hours?
I say you're committing 8 hours because screenings are not going to necessarily line up, right? So you got to see one, which is damn near 3 hours. It's about maybe 3+ hours.
Yeah, nobody's doing that on Thursday.
Yeah, on premiere day, you can't see both. You got to see one. But let's say you want.
Then there is another problem. Like if somebody wants to see the movie specifically in IMAX, because well, let's face it, both movies are IMAX worthy. They're gonna pick the one that is in IMAX.
Yeah.
The first week. They're gonna wait till Doomsday comes out in IMAX, but at the same time, like Doomsday is the one that can easily be spoiled, the one that you really want to find out what happens.
Right.
Dune, not so much. So, well, we'll see. I think that would be an interesting experiment, and if we'll see what comes out of it. That's gonna be fun as hell.
Who wants to do a double feature of Dune? Like again, you could do a double.
I'm not doing that. I'm putting Dune like away for next week or whatever when I feel like it.
Yeah, Barbenheimer was doable as a double feature. Doomsday is not. You're like unless you got to be dedicated. I'm telling you, because they're not going to line up. Let's just say you got about a 20-30 minute window between the two of them. 3 hours.
But also, like, do you have the money? Do you have the time? Do you have are you ready to eat like nothing but popcorn every day, all day? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. In America, now I don't know how your theaters work. Here at the one I go to, the AMC, there are 30 minutes worth of trailers and ads. So start time,
30 minutes.
Start time, and for 30 minutes, it's about 25 to 30 minutes of trailers and ads. And then it starts. So that's why I was saying, if you're going to go do this, if you're going to go do a double feature, it is a day. Because you got the first movie.
You gotta call in sick for work.
Yeah. First movie, 3 hours. Then you gotta wait. Let's just say there's 15. Let's say there's 30 minutes between the end of one movie and the start of one. All right, cool. Then 30 more minutes of trailers. So there's an hour. So all right, 4 hours. Then 3 more hours. You're talking about 7 hours of your life. I ain't doing it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say Doomsday on Thursday, and then I'm gonna see Dune on Friday. I'm not. Hell no. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I love movies. I don't even. I barely like doing double features now. And the movies have got to
Only
be.
at home.
Yeah, the double feature for a movie at the theater for me has to be one that's about an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. Another one could be 2 hours. That's it. If it's not like that, I'm no thanks. Not doing it. Um, I don't look. I think there's no way to get around it. This is not good for either movie because they're gonna lose money. They're gonna lose sales that they otherwise would have gotten because they're stepping on each other's toes. This is just true. What Marvel and Warner Brothers are gonna try to do is play up this Doomsday deal as if it's Barbenheimer and hope that people will, jump onto it the way they did Barbenheimer. I don't see it. I just don't. Barbie was its own thing, and it had it. I think it brought a whimsy to it that and kind of a girl power thing that Doomsday does not have, and Dune definitely doesn't have. I think women are definitely going to come out to both of the movies. I'm not saying they won't, but there's a difference. The reason why Barbenheimer worked, in my opinion, is because they were working in different lanes, but also the women, appealing to women aspect of it was so fucking strong. And I don't know why these studios don't understand this. When you appeal strongly to a certain demographic that is generally underserved, they gonna show up. Black folks showed up for Black Panther and Wakanda Forever hard, like so hard. Women showed up for Captain Marvel hard, to the tune of $1 billion, right? Barbie, $1 billion movie for a reason, because women were like, we're going to do this. This is a thing. And neither of these movies have that. They don't. But they do, they do have? They got segments of the fandom that are bitching, moaning, and complaining about every fucking thing. About their DEI and every fucking thing. And there are certain segments that can't wait to shit on Marvel. So, like, I don't see it. But I'm going to go see these two movies. I mean, it's me. Come on. Y'all know I'm going to see these. Obviously, we are going to go watch these. I don't know if you're going to see Dune, but I'm definitely going to see both of them.
Of course, yeah. I do like Dune. I read the books.
Just not the first
I am
week.
a pretty big fan of it. Yeah, but just I'm not doing it that.
I'm gonna require
if when it comes to making a choice, I of course choose Doomsday because that's
obviously Doom
demands
it.
I don't live for Dune.
Doom demands it.
I do like Dune. I just don't live for it.
Well, I mean, I think I'm gonna require you to go see that before we do because otherwise, who am I gonna talk to about Dune 3? You got to go see it before we do the podcast. Anyway,
what happens?
We'll see. Let's get ready for Doomsday, y'all. We'll talk about it more as the year progresses. So this is all on me. Hey, we're talking about Invincible Season 4 is off to a super start. I watched the first 4 episodes of Invincible. Somebody here did not, and it's okay. It is all right. We are not going to pass judgment as nerds on someone for not watching, one of the big nerd shows right now. That's okay. It is perfectly all right. We don't judge too much. So this is just basically going to be me talking about how I feel about the first 4 episodes of Invincible. As I said, it's off to a super start. Look, you know what Invincible is. If you've watched the first few seasons, you pretty much know what you're getting. Blood splattering, people getting the shit beat out of them. Mark is, he's he's trying to navigate the world uh, in the wake of all the terrible crap that keeps happening. Um, at the end of last season, uh, I won't spoil it too much. So basically, a bad guy that he thought he defeated came back and caused terrible, terrible things to happen around the world. And Mark feels very guilty about it. Another, he had a run in with another supervillain that also was very mad about some shit that the Invincible did. He had to deal with him. He also had to deal with the Viltrumite that came up to the Earth and was like, "Why isn't the Earth conquered?" And he had to fight him, and it was really really terrible, and he almost died. So like, yeah, it's been a rough year for Mark, and things aren't getting better. The shit. What they say, shit rolls downhill. Well, he is at the bottom of that fucking hill. But that being said, it's about the journey and the struggle. We get to see Oliver getting older. We see the Guardians kind of reconstituting themselves to take on all of the threats, and then there's the other weird shit going on. A threat from the past that we thought was dealt with comes back to be a really major problem that the Guardians of the Globe and Mark have to deal with. And it causes Mark to make a decision that really weighs heavily on him. Nolan and Alan are sort of, they're trying to get the rebellion together. The United Federation of Planets are going to take the war to the Viltrumites. And in order to do that, they got to gather some weapons that are going to actually hurt Viltrumites. So Nolan reluctantly turns traitor. And we get to see a little bit more about Nolan's life as a younger person on Viltrum, and kind of what has led the Viltrumite Empire where they are, where led Nolan to where he is. And we also get to see kind of like in episode 4, kind of a one-off adventure with Mark literally going to hell and having to fight demons. So there's all sorts of like interesting, cool things happening in this show. And I think I'm not blown away by what's happening. I'm satisfied with what's happening. I don't think it's doing anything above and beyond what we've already seen before, and that may just be because we are in the middle section of the overall story of Invincible, like the comics, where a lot of the things that has kind of captured people's imagination is just kind of like the surprising aspect of some, like, when Nolan kills the Guardians of the Globe, that was a oh shit moment, right? Or when when he and Mark have the fight, and he puts Mark's face through like a subway train. That the oh shit, I didn't expect that aspect of it, is what we get. And I think we've kind of settled into a place where it's hard to be surprised by the things that happen. It's hard to be surprised by any of the, like, when we get introduced to a new bad guy, they're not doing anything particularly strange or surprising. We're just more like, Mark, when are you going to finish this off or whatever, right? And so really what actually has to be important here is the character work, not the superhero shit, not the swerves, not the the twists, not the over the top violence and gore. It's got to be the character work. And in that case, I actually do quite enjoy what they're doing. Oliver, as I said, he's kind of a teenager, and he's in his teenage years. Mark's kind of wrestling with his power and how he uses it, and can he be judge, jury, and executioner? Even when he makes hard calls, he's still agonizing over them. What does that mean for him? Is he he's worried he's like his dad? Cecil is being he's being his usual, like, kind of covert self and doing questionable things, and the ramifications of that start showing up. And the Guardians are trying to figure out, they're trying to figure out their place in the world as far as keeping the world safe. And then, of course, we got the redemption of Nolan as, Omni-Man. And what does that mean for him and Alan and the Federation of Planets? And then, finally the Viltrumite, they are out there. They're ready to, they're going to come back. They're going to be a problem in the second half of the season. I think, like I said, it's pretty much doing more or less what it's done before. I enjoy the action. I enjoy, some of the fun stuff. And there's a couple times I felt like the 40 minutes wasn't necessary. Like you could have done this in about 30 minutes. So there are some time there's a particular sequence in episode 4 where I'm just like, this is a joke that's running too long. And I'll tell the joke because it's not hugely important to the plot. It's Mark is asking, he's what is he, Damien whatever. He's the basically he's like Etrigan the demon, but he's like a detective. We saw him in a previous season. But they're down in hell, and they're dropping through a supposedly bottomless pit. It's not bottomless, but they're and while they're going down, they're just kind of talking. They're just falling, and they're just kind of talking because it's a really long fall. And every time Damon says something, he has on this battle armor. Every time he has to talk, the armor disappears like a Tony Stark faceplate, right? So he'll say something and it'll disappear, and then it'll come back, and then Mark will respond, and then he'll say something, it'll disappear and then come back. And Mark's just like, why are you doing that? Why you keep doing that? That's weird. Why would you? And he's like, that's just the way the armor works. And there's this long, it's an unnecessarily long conversation about why this helmet does what it does. And I was just like, this was funny at first, like in the first 15, 20 seconds of this, but you did not have to make this a conversation. And I felt like this was padding the episode for time. There was no reason, like if you cut that entire sequence out, you cut 2 minutes out of the show and it wouldn't have changed one thing about what happened. It's just stuff like that, right? Oh, and I did forget to mention Eve. Eve, she's going through some stuff. Her powers are not working correctly, and she doesn't know why. And then there's another wrinkle that I won't spoil. That's probably why her powers aren't working. So there's basically Kirkman's put a lot of he's got some plates spinning. I think that to the detriment of the show, some of the plates that are spinning are the same fucking plates we've seen before. And like you're just like, how many times can we love seeing Spider-Man fight Dr. Octopus, but man, the shit can't be the more or less the same shit as before, right? It's not as compelling. So I hope they do kind of address that. And I know for sure we are going to get some Viltrumite action later on in the season. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But overall, I'm satisfied. I enjoyed my time with it. I think it's worth watching, especially if you are invested in Invincible. You're going to get more or less what you're looking for. And it is promising a lot of cool stuff in the future. And I think you as someone who hasn't really watched, you haven't really watched much of season 3. From what you have seen, I think it's probably more or less up your alley. I do also want to shout out. I'm patting myself on the back for this. I just look. There's a thing I posted about unrealistic writing of black people. This is a problem. This is a serious problem that I think we need to address in TV and movie writing in general, but in the genre space in particular. I need y'all to know a black person for real. I don't know if this is Kirkman that wrote this episode. I think it's episode 2 or 3. I think it might have been 2. Whatever, 2 or 3, whatever. There's a point where it's in a city, and there's a black guy walking down the street, and then like the manhole cover starts moving around, and then suddenly you see a tentacle like sort of inch its way out of the manhole cover, and the black guy stops and he's like, huh, that's crazy, that's weird, what is this, is anybody else seeing this? And I'm like I had to literally fucking I had to pause the episode. I took a screenshot and I was like, ain't no way. Where's the black writers? Because there ain't a black man in this country. There's not a black man in this country that will see some shit like that and take any time to investigate. It not even stop.
In the world.
No.
In the world.
They gonna see that shit and they're like, nope, wherever I gotta be is not right here. There's some bullshit right here. And this is in the world of Invincible, where bullshit be happening all the time. The shit you can't fucking you can't throw a rock outside and not hit some bullshit happening somewhere. And I'm convinced black people in the Invincible world are no different than the ones that are in this world. And when we see some bullshit, we go in the other direction expeditiously, right? And this black man, I was like, ain't no way, y'all palette swapped. Y'all palette swapped him, because this for sure ain't a black man. A black man not sitting up here curious about, let me go investigate. No, terrible writing. That's not how black people act. I need y'all to.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. No.
Ridiculous.
You know what? I'll tell you more about that. Like, Americans. I don't know about Americans. They might stop. Like, white Americans might stop and check out what's going on in the world. Like, not a single person I've ever met. If they see some shit happening, like Russians are running, they're not gonna be standing around waiting for something to happen.
I suspect, I think I know, like, culturally, Russians might be like, nope, I'm minding my own damn business.
Yeah,
no. That we are definitely
history taught us well.
Black Americans are very much that ain't my business. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And I think I understand why Russians in general might feel the same way, because minding somebody else's fucking business is a good way for, people in power to be like, why are you so fucking nosy? Yeah. Why were you? Don't be rubbernecking while the secret police are taking somebody. Nope, don't see it. I don't see that shit at all. Nope, I ain't seen.
You ain't seen nothing. You ain't talked to nobody. No.
They're ransacking. You see the KGB ransacking somebody's house. Well, no, I didn't. I'm going to the market.
I wasn't even there.
I don't even got nothing to do with that. That ain't at my house. She ain't got shit to do with me. It's so wild. Shit is wild. Like, I'm watched that and I was like, I think one person was like, oh, look, it's just a cartoon. It's not that serious. The shit took me out. No, we don't do that. We don't. Anyway. Robert Kirkman, get it together. I get, like, you really got to work harder, because like that, and it's such a small detail, but it's a stupid detail to get wrong. Anyway, y'all go watch Invincible. We'll talk about it more next week. So we got to talk about Daredevil Born Again, the first season 2, episode 1, which, and look, you know what, I talked a lot in the previous segment because I watched Invincible. I want you to talk mostly about Daredevil. One, there's for 2 reasons. One, so I can rest my voice, and 2, you are most recently well read on the comics, super well read on the comics, so you can speak to more about what they're doing right or wrong about Daredevil Born Again season 2. And you can explain, you can explain to me why Heather Glenn is not utter garbage. Help me to understand this, but my very brief look at this first episode, it was good stuff.
It was great.
I don't like Heather. I think one thing that maybe bugs me a bit about the show, and this is not actually a slight against it. This is just a slight against current American situation. And I was like, God damn, this is too close to home. Like every aspect of it is way too close to home. And they did it on purpose. But god dang it, AVTF, it could have it's just ICE. Fisk is just a far more competent Trump. You got fucking what's her name? Valentina co-signing this bullshit because it's convenient. Matthew Lillard, I really liked him, and his very small amount he's in it, I really liked him as basically the eyes and ears of Valentina, for the CIA. I really quite liked him. um, and everybody's doing their job. I think, you know, I don't, I want the chemistry between Karen and Matt to be a little better. It feels quite forced to me, but I like them as characters. So I like them as characters, but like it's oddly forced to me. um, and that was a
It is.
very
It is.
it's a very great and explosive ending to the episode that I'm really interested in what's happening. But anyway, I'm gonna rest my voice. I want to hear your thoughts on this
I'm not
episode.
gonna be able to avoid any spoilers, definitely. But to me, the episode was really great because it was packed with events. It did a really great, and I have noticed that it did a really great recap of season one. Because you really feel like all the important things that people could have not missed, but like people could remember, and like you could pull from those bits and remember the rest. So they provided a really great recap of season one. So you started this season and it felt like you just came off watching season one. So I was surprised that they only went with one episode because usually it's a 2 episode premiere. But someone pointed out that the next week we get 2 episodes, and it might be because it's going to be a whole arc, and probably the arc where we'll see Jessica. I hope so, because like I'm excited to see her very much. The really this feel of relevance. So regarding what Fisk is doing when it comes to vigilantes and his work as mayor. Yeah, that I understand why hits close to home. I mean, some people were talking about how it was like even in the show, because they were writing it before this whole thing started, probably. Even on the show, they didn't expect that like things would be much worse. It's a dog outside. It's like, oh,
He's out there he's agreeing with you like
he's howling. That's so weird. uh, so yeah, but like I do see that they clearly, there are some elements of what was written in the comics, and there are some elements that they probably borrowed from like all around the world, because we've seen people like that in power, and we've seen these initiatives at work. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was there was like really this whole sequence with the sailors from the ship
Right.
that that drowned. The whole like sequence where they came into a restaurant to try to get out of the country. One of them got captured, the other one not so much, but still, yeah, that I understand how that feels familiar. It does feel familiar for me too, a little bit, because like it's not much different from what was happening in Russia too.
Mhm.
Mm, but it is a very, I don't know, like people who still claim that comics are not political. What are you on? Regarding Daredevil himself, you were gonna say something, yeah?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Regarding Daredevil himself, like what I'm continuously surprised. Like, how does he get himself into this situation? And this particular, yeah, we know exactly how he got there, but it's just uh his line about how he has to believe that like the justice would work and Fisk wouldn't escape. Like, dude,
Bullshit.
what are you on? Like, you've been a
Bullshit.
lawyer for how many years? You've been fighting Kingpin for how many years? You've seen everything. Like, how can you be so stupid when you're like not even that young
he's
anymore?
he's full of shit. He's full of shit for this reason. He's just like, oh, I have to believe that the law is going to prevail. Yeah, that's why you go out, dress up, and beat the shit out of people in a costume.
Mm-hmm.
Shut the hell up!
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe
Contradicted
in the
his own
you
point.
don't believe in the rule of law. You believe in the rule of law when it's convenient. When it's not, you ignore it. It's get out of here. That's
But also, like, he knows better than anyone that it doesn't work.
yeah. He's the. We've talked about this
Being
before.
so
We talked about
naive.
this in last season. He's
Hmm.
he's just like yeah, but yeah, but the law. I'm like you're only using law when it's convenient. That really is it. How you're not different from Fisk, and except in that you want to use you want to break the law for good, and he wants to break the law for bad. You're both breaking the fucking law. So
I
if
mean, I don't mind the breaking of the law part
yeah if
as
the law
much.
yeah
I mean,
I think it's kind of a moral responsibility that if a law is unjust to break it and
yeah.
break it and then challenge it as a law itself. I'm not saying Matt's wrong to go around and billy club the shit out of bad guys. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think the thing about it is that he's more or less acknowledging that the law's broken or corrupted or whoever's enforcing it is not going to do the right thing. And he's also he is de facto accepting the fact that law is just a nebulous, sort of thing that we agree on, but really what matters is force. Force is what's act it, and I wish people would just be honest about it. Let's stop pretending like that's not really the law. The law is might makes right. And I hate to say that, but if that weren't true, then it wouldn't matter who was in charge of the government, who was in charge of the police and the military and the enforcement part. It wouldn't fucking matter because if the law is what mattered, they would just enforce it and move on. But that's not what is true. What is true is might makes right. Whoever's in charge gets to decide what is and isn't a law that needs to be observed. Just true. Uh, and once we get past the fiction of laws are sacrosanct, once we get past that fiction, we can start dealing with problems pragmatically. And Daredevil is wanting to have his fucking cake. Matt's wanting to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to be a champion of the law, but he also wants to flout it whenever it's convenient. And he's not.
No, you know what? His excuse is always like, there is darkness in me, like there is the devil in me that does these things. It's not really me.
Yeah, yeah. The devil made me do it. Nobody.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
yeah. He's
It's
so bizarre
and
with his religion and his law
now
obsession. It's just yeah.
I would just say, mind you, I'm reminding y'all, I'm on Matt's side. I like him.
He's one of my favorite
I want
characters.
him to win, but just because that's true doesn't mean I can't call bullshit. And he's full of shit. He is full of shit for real.
I want him to win, but I also want him to be really sad and
Well,
like lose everything while he's winning. So yeah,
I mean,
that's
he.
Daredevil.
I honestly, I think he's happier than he's ever been because he's not with Heather anymore. So there's a win.
There
Oh
are
my
two problems.
god.
I'll get to Heather.
Yeah,
I'll get to
please,
Heather,
babe,
but
please. I can't wait to shit on her so bad. She's so.
there is like somebody, like not even somebody, but everybody a lot. When we talk about Matt Murdock, somebody always says like a really good lawyer. He's not. He's a terrible lawyer. He's one of the worst lawyers ever because like, uh, see what he's doing right now. That is ridiculous. Like, and he's not. He's most of the time he doesn't even show up for work. I mean, his clients. I don't know what his clients are doing right now. He's a terrible lawyer. He's a much worse lawyer than
Well, I
Jan
mean,
Walters.
to be fair to
That's just
him,
a fact.
well, Jen's good, but like to be fair to to Matt, he is on the run. Like he literally is living in a safe house, and so is Karen. Like they're to
Yeah,
be.
would you want your lawyer, like, you depend on your lawyer, would you want them to be on the run?
I
Isn't
mean,
that a little weird?
if he can he remote in? That's all I'm trying to figure out.
I don't think so. I don't think
can
so.
we if this was the pandemic, he could like he could do Zoom court.
I
He could.
don't think that he's like gonna be really uncomfortable, especially like if somebody writes something in the chat. It's just
Yeah,
gonna be
I
the whole
mean,
mess.
it,
So yeah, when it comes to him and Karen, first of all, like Karen doesn't need to be there. I expected something better from her. I mean, I understand like why people like them together. I don't necessarily like them together because it's just not the drama and the heartache and the pain that he should be going through all the time. Uh, I do like the portrayal of Deborah and Walt, but like it's just weird to me. They do lack chemistry, like you said. I agree with that. Uh, and it's just it's just like weird friendship, that situationship. I don't know.
right.
It's just odd. Yeah, but well, yeah. Let's talk about Heather. People really love to hate Heather because, and I understand why, because that shit that she pulled in this episode is just beyond my
Trash.
understanding. Like
Trash.
I had all the sympathy for her before, because yeah, she does this thing. She does study this people who wear masks and stuff like that. Basically, superheroes and supervillains. That's her whole thing. That is interesting. I understand how she got involved in all that, but like doing what she's been doing in this episode and drinking vodka like that. No, it's not how you drink vodka. No, no, seriously, so basically what she did is she forged the documents, that like transcripts of her conversation with
With
Swordsmaster.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's that? Jack Duquesne.
Jack Duquesne. So yeah, she forged it because they really needed to. She got the call where she was asked to do that. But basically, it was told to her that if we could prove that he's a sociopath, then we could have like easier time putting him
Yeah.
away. Uh, and she just, and did it.
Trash. Trash. Oh
And
my
there
god.
is no excuse for that. I that's I've seen people like that. Like I know that people do that, and I think I said it on threads that sometimes they do it to advance their careers. Sometimes they do it because like they uh under like a lot of pressure from people in power or something like that. Sometimes they just do it because like for money and stuff.
Mhm.
She's doing that for no reason at all. Like she has no reason except aside from her trauma that she went through with Muse, whom she's still seeing. I don't know. There is not a single good reason why you would do that, knowing that it's illegal and evil.
Yeah, well, there's a good reason. There is. Sh- is she's trying to maintain her her standing within the administration. Like
I mean, is
the
is she or is
prosecutor.
she?
Well, the
I
pro
don't think that's it. I think that in her mind, uh, she feels like this is the only thing that
well,
can help her, like prevent future situations like what happened to her.
I mean,
She thinks that
I could see that. Yeah.
yeah, that's the her defense strategy.
But
Basically,
her
she believes in Fisk, in what Fisk is doing, because it can not only like clean up the streets, but protect her from future
yeah.
situations like that.
Well,
That's
I
where
think
she's coming from.
I think I'm not as charitable to her reasoning, mainly because of the way she approached her conversation with Jack. She made it very clear to him that she wasn't interested in the truth or what he had to say or anything like. She wasn't interested in that. She was interested in him doing what she said, right? Making her case for her, because it's pretty clear. Look what she wrote down. Hostile. Well, yeah, he's been held, on a black site essentially. No, no real legal recourse, and he's not stupid. He's very intelligent. He understands what's happening. Even still, he was very cordial, but he was also forceful about maintaining about protecting his own rights. And she wrote that down as hostile. So he knows what's going on, and he's trying not to play her game, and he doesn't go along until she makes it clear that he has no rights, and that if she wants, she will have him beaten until he starts cooperating. So she's automatically a villain from the jump. As soon as she takes his defiance as an opportunity to flex her power over him and to let him know that he has no, not just doesn't have any power, he has no rights. She's a villain from that point on. Now every other reasoning she might have is irrelevant to me. She's her,
It it
her
it
to me.
is
What I mean,
yeah,
what?
it is what she's doing. I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying that this is her reasoning. This is what I feel, where I feel she's coming from. Do I understand that? Yeah, I understand that
Mhm.
as as a viewer, I do not sympathize with her. She is, yeah, she is trash. And oh,
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know. It's
look, I get that the Muse thing was a deal to her. I'm not saying it's not. The problem I have with it is that beyond just being like, I want to clean the streets up so this doesn't happen again. She knows she's not stupid, and she knows to play. She's playing the game. She's giving Fisk and them what they want, and she's using their tactics and their intimidation power the same as they would. She knows that that's what they do. So that when she
Yeah,
gets,
but we never got any indication like that she is not on that side of things, that
yeah,
she is a just person or something like that. All we knew about her was like basically what she did and
we know.
what she told them. I mean, Kirsten, I think, introduced them, so why would she do that to Matt?
Yeah,
I don't know.
well, I look at it as
But then
she.
again, didn't she tell her that he needed a therapist? I think like I mean he should have just saw her as a therapist. If anything, shouldn't have done that whole
And
thing.
I think there's no, we don't know how she really feels about what's going on with Matt and all that other stuff, but I think I think it's pretty clear. Like, I don't even think she's necessarily drank the Kool Aid, because she's not dumb enough to not see the cynical angle that Fisk is playing to entrench himself and power
That
in the.
is
I think she's
that is a way more complicated issue because to this day I don't understand what these people are telling themselves and how they justify that, because I've seen, of course, a lot of people who do that, who join the system, who find their place within the system, and they keep telling themselves something, I don't know what,
yeah.
that makes like go day to day through this. I don't know what it is.
I think it's
I think that it's a pretty good guess. It's a pretty good portrayal that gives us something at least to grab onto, but I will never understand these people either way.
I think it's a better you better them than me mentality, but also it's the idea of like you've mounted a tiger, right? You're
I
riding on a
think that
tiger.
within, like inside their mind, they have a much more noble
Yeah,
explanation for that.
I'm sure they're
So
rational.
they
Yeah,
have to be they have to be not only rational, they have to be morally like on the moral high
right,
ground. They have to be noble. They have to make themselves feel noble, like they're doing it as a service, and that they misunderstood in the moment,
right,
but later, like when people see the big picture as well as they do now, then they would understand.
right.
Maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure
That's a guess.
she's rationalizing it to make
Hmm.
herself feel better. But like when you look at the you look at it, I think it's pretty clear that she know, like I said, she knows that she's riding a tiger. She has voluntarily jumped on the back of a tiger, and that if she does not maintain perfect balance on it, she can't get off of the thing, or it's going to turn on her. Like that's it's clear. The moment she chose Fisk and everything like that, there was no saying no to the things. When the DA even he pretty explicitly said, I read the tea leaves, and if I wanted to maintain my place, I'm gonna have to. And when we talk about
Yeah.
Christian, McDuffie. He chose to sell out because he saw the way things were moving, and he wants to maintain his place in the hierarchy. And in a way, Heather is doing that. And she can say it's for noble reasons. She can say it's because of Muse and all of the trauma that she got from that. But she was like that before Muse. Before Muse ever attacked her, she was like that before. This like
Well, yeah, of
the
course,
the
that is
line the line
something
yeah
that is in the like that exists in the
yeah
person before.
the line
Yeah,
from where we meet her to where she is now is a straight line, and Muse didn't even interrupt it. Like so she whether she's doing this for personal advancement, or she really believes that something's wrong with people that wear masks, she's pretty much okay with doing all the wrong things to to validate what she thinks, or what she believes, or her work. And she also is not stupid enough to not realize that she can't say no to Fisk, or she risks her own life, because Fisk has set up the AVTF to essentially be his secret police, to do whatever the fuck they want.
yeah,
And
of
so,
course.
so she's an insider. She can't get. She is on the tiger's back, and she cannot get off until somebody kills that tiger. She can't get off of it, and so
Or
she has.
her.
Yeah, and she got to do whatever she has to. She sucks. I said it last season, and it's true. As she sucked last season, she sucks this season, and she's a good character. Good.
Yeah,
she's
she's
a
gonna
she's a
a
she's
really
a
great
she's a good
character because
character.
yeah, that's a character that, of course, yeah, in the comics it was an entirely different character that did create. uh, I think that she created simultaneously more and fewer problems for Matt, but either way, yeah, it's an entirely different character. It's someone they came up with in the writing room, I guess, and that's amazing job. That's just
Yeah.
incredible. She improved the show very, very much.
Do we talk about
Yeah,
Kristen really quickly? I loved. She's only in it very.
Kirsten.
Kirsten, sorry, Kirsten.
Yeah.
You always forget her name. I always remember McDuffie. I never remember her first name. Kirsten.
Mm.
I God, I loved her little. She's not in it a lot, but her scene with the DA. What a bad. Like I want her. I would want her at my table if I needed to be defended. I want her at my table because she's
Yeah, not her partner though.
not Matt.
Mm-mm.
But
No.
I want Kirsten at my table, because the way she was just like shit talking the DA that she used to work for, and just clear he disgusts her. Like she's cordial, but she is like she is reading him for filth. And I love that. I don't know who the actor is, but man, she's doing her thing. I can't wait to see more of it. It's clear.
Oh yeah, if we get to see more of her, because obviously she's like one of those people who get that, I'm not telling them anything to protect them treatment from Matt, which
Oh
is
yeah, no,
something he's known for. I
uh,
mean, I'm just happy that she's not dating him, because like no,
she'd
no, not her. I like her
she
too
would be
much.
fridged. She would be
And
fridged.
somehow Kirsten in the comics, she is alive. She survived. They just not together anymore because of
Okay.
course he had to run back to Electron.
Yeah, that's wild. But she's really great in the small amount. Also, I forget the name of the guy, the detective, that the former police officer.
Cherry.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. I loved him in this episode.
Yeah.
Even though
He
like
dead though.
even though some shit, is he though? Is he dead?
He,
He was having a heart
you know
attack.
what? Yeah, he was definitely having a heart attack because he was punched in the heart. That was a
Yeah,
very like that was the goal of this punch. And I remember, like, I saw when this punch happened, I was like, oh my god, he is
yeah.
so gonna die.
I hope
And
not.
I hope not, because he's a great character and like Matt really needs him. And just if you need someone, I'm sorry, like I really like this portrayal, but if you need to kill someone else, kill Karen. She
They're not gonna do that, but It's this, if they get
Yeah,
rid
they're
of
definitely
Cherry.
not gonna do that, but they just don't work as a couple, and they're gonna have to think of where to put her when
Yeah.
they finally realize that they just don't work as a couple.
Um.
And also, I have so many questions to man. I still don't remember him breaking up with Heather, which I mean,
I mean, it was a given.
shit
There's
trash,
that.
shit
That's
trash,
like,
but
look,
like nobody
look,
deserves that.
look.
Second, uh, I don't remember him breaking up with She-Hulk.
They didn't. They were
Look
look.
at what he's
They were
doing
a
with
hook.
that.
They were a hookup. They were a
Yeah,
just.
he
They were
met her
just.
family.
They were a hookup. Like it's look.
He
You're.
was sitting right there with
Yeah.
her family, with
I
her
mean.
parents, with Bruce.
I mean. Yeah. It's just a hookup though. But I will.
You no.
No. It's just. And as far as breaking up with Heather, it's just like, I mean, I think they broke up the moment she said, "I'm working for Fisk." He was like, "Oh, fuck that! Like, you're not gonna go work for my enemy. You're crazy. You lost your damn mind." I've been shit
Yeah,
talk.
but you know what? What we keep forgetting that is that when he came to in the hospital, he said, "Karen,
Oh yeah, well,
I mean, if I were Heather, I would go work for Fisk
So
too."
is this the reason why she's doing this? It's just because he said Karen.
I don't know,
That's
but this is the
wild.
level of petty I aspire to be.
That is wild. Oh my gosh. Jack Duquesne has got to go to the damage control
Because
supermax
Matt
because
can't keep
Matt
his
said
mouth
Karen. That's
shut.
crazy.
That's because no,
That's
Matt's horniness, it creates problems for
also
everyone. This is the one absolutely comic book accurate scene in this show.
he
Like,
just ruins everybody else's life for his stupid. There's so
yeah.
many, there's a lot of implications to this like where this is unrelated, but Jack's in there. Where's Kate Bishop?
Mm,
She's a masked vigilante.
I mean, if she's not in New York, that's just smart of her.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't
would
think
hope,
she's
I hope that
in
she
New.
relocated to San Francisco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. I
It's
think so. Yeah,
it's
go
well,
ahead.
look, this is a lot to say about this one episode. I think they're setting the table for a very grand meal. Like we're getting an 8 course meal. You know, this was the amuse bouche, if you will. We're just getting started. They're setting the table. They're letting you know some shit's going about to go down. Everything's bleak. The color grading on this whole show is, they're just like, look, it's all slate gray. Like I swear, I was like, are we in New York or are we in London? What the fuck? Like the color grading is it's wildly gray. Like it's so gray on here. I don't believe that there's any bright days going on at all. But they're letting us know like this is some serious ass shit, especially with the reveal of, Matt's about to go down, and he's remember he's unmasked, right?
Mm.
Which is weird that nobody know. Like Fisk, for some reason, has kept it secret that Matt Murdock is
Maybe he
Daredevil.
forgot.
I don't know
Sometimes
why.
that happens. He
Yeah,
forgets. Maybe
but
Strange did
but
this little.
but he wants people to capture him, but he hasn't let people know that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. It's really weird. But these officers find out, and by beating his ass because he gets distracted by Cherry about to die, and then a guardian angel comes out and takes out the AVTF people. Which, by the way, no one's mourning them. Bad cops.
No.
No one gives a fuck. But they all die. He kills all of them, and then Bullseye sends like a little thing to be like, hey, I owed you one. Here's, I'm watching.
No. It was
No,
like,
wait,
you're
what?
welcome,
Oh no, you say you're
it
welcome,
said you're
something like that. Yeah,
welcome, and it had a
at a
little
bullseye.
crosshair.
Which
Yeah, bullseye.
so, and we knew we were getting William Bethel in this as
I
bullseye.
mean, I'm just glad that he engraved it into the things because, Matt wouldn't be able to read it. Would be very mean of him.
Very nice of him to come for the save, because they really did paint him into a corner. You're like, how the fuck is he getting out of this? Oh, okay, divine intervention or bullseye intervention. Cool. That was a great way to end the episode. Can't wait to see what they do with the next
Yeah,
episode.
and we talked a lot about like some of the characters and not enough about other characters, because it has a few other characters that we pretty much go through everyone that we know, and we check in on everyone, where they at, what they doing. So we have Kirsten and Cherry, and we have Bibi Uric, who is like doing
Playing
the
the long
double
game.
agent
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Which is like definitely hard, and it's dangerous. And her conversation with Karen
Was
was,
very good. I liked it.
yeah, it was very good. It's just like I keep wondering, like, Karen, she just became a journalist out of nowhere with no experience and no
You
knowledge
know,
about this, and then now she's like pretending to do some other things. Just all weird. Now she's a spy. Okay, Karen, do whatever you
what's
feel like.
what's the name of
But
the deputy mayor kid? What's his name?
yeah, I keep forgetting, like it's Daniel or something.
Something. That dude is
I
that.
don't remember, like, but
Oh,
that asshole is
oh, Pete
still like
Higgs
doing
his
this whole thing.
ass. Not you, Pete Higgs. His damn like DEI hire ass. You know his lame. But he's so lame. And BB, like I get it.
Yeah.
BB is like mad cute and like she's got a great personality. I could see why you could completely miss the fact that you know you're so like kind of like awestruck by her that you completely miss the fact that she's fucking playing you. Like I get it.
That's, it's good that that happens. It does happen to people who are like this. Uh, pretty accurate description, if you ask me, of this type of person. And Wesley 2.0 is
Wesley
still
love
doing
him.
his.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's not the real
Not
Wesley
Wesley.
though.
What's his actual name? He's some British guy, right?
No idea. Yeah, some British guy. I call him Wesley 2.0,
He's
and
I love him.
it was not surprising that what he did. He was like in this short sequence when they arrested the guy from the boat, and first he got beaten up brutally by an ICE agent, or what do they call it? And anti-vigilante force task
Yeah,
force.
those
Yeah.
guys.
Uh, Localize anyway, and then yeah, Wesley shows up, says something nice, says some nice words in British, and then shoots him in the head. It's
Yeah,
not surprising because it's always the polite guy. It's always someone like that. Not shocking at all.
yeah.
Uh,
Very. He's
yeah.
a cool ass character. He's a cool character. When he finally meets his end, it's gonna be something. I think. Um, and of course Fisk and Vanessa. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, they're pretty muted in this episode. I think they're keeping it real.
Uh, I
They're
don't
keep,
know, but I kept like I noticed that when then they were sitting and talking to Matthew Lillard
yeah.
character. they Yeah, what was his name? Richard something,
And
yeah.
you know what? That I'm gonna say Shaggy. They were just
Yeah.
talking.
So they were talking to Shaggy, and Fisk was looking at Vanessa, waiting for her approval to say anything
Yeah,
at all.
it's very
And not just that, I like that little dynamic thing between
it.
them.
Well, it's an acknowledgement, and Fisk in the previous season pretty much acknowledged, like, yeah, you kept it together while I was locked up,
Yeah.
and while I was on sabbatical. So we're equal. Like once we sorted out our marital problems, our co-leadership problems. We're of one mind and one body right now. So watching them, like I enjoyed their it's a beautiful dynamic between them. These are two actors who are 100% in lockstep with each other. They know exactly what they're doing with their characters, and it presents a nice little unified front where Shaggy is like, he's poking at and prodding at the relationship, and they're solid. There's, he's trying to talk to Fisk like Vanessa doesn't matter, but he knows. That's the thing is, he knows that she matters, like because she was
Hmm.
running his shit for years. So he knows that she's serious and a real player. So he can't just. He's sitting up here. He's playing mind games with them, and it doesn't work because they're together. And I mean, I love it. We could go on and on because this is very long. I think it's a
Yeah.
great. It's I said it was very good. I think you said a great episode. And I'm excited. I'm ready for the next episode to see what's going on. This is we get two next
Next
week.
two
It's gonna be
episodes.
what
Yeah.
crazy. We're at 2 episodes. All right, thank you, Marvel. You know, yeah, they're feeding us well. So anyway, so that's it. That's all of our news items for this week. But maybe we missed something in 2.5 hours. I don't see how that's possible, but hey, maybe we missed something. You want to comment on something we had to say, troll us, praise us, whatever the case may be, you know what to do. Get down there to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up. It's supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurt_force1 on Instagram and Threads and on TikTok. I said, what were we on? Upscrolled. Don't check Upscrolled. I don't use it. Really, it's mostly Threads. If you wanna hit me up and talk about anything. So, and of course, I couldn't do this by myself. I needed my good friend Polly to talk about. I don't want to say bring me back from the ledge on Heather Glenn. I don't need that, but
Well, that's just where Heather Glenn usually ends up.
I mean, I'm not going to be bothered if she does, but either way, where can they find you on social media?
Car_mixed on Threads, on Tumblr, on Instagram, maybe. I don't know. But definitely on Threads.
Maybe
Come chat with me.
Twitch. I just really
Maybe Twitch. Yeah, you look.
we literally just have to
but
get
I'll
together.
get to it.
We got to get
Yeah.
together and get your OBS situated. That's the deal. I think that's what's holding it up. So it's partially my fault. My bad, guys. I'll help her out.
No, it's actually my fault, but yeah.
Yeah. You guys go out and show Polly some love on those platforms. So that being said, this has been episode 224 of the Supercast. Thanks for joining us. Come back next week. We're going to talk about Daredevil. We're going to talk about Invincible. We are going to talk about The Boys. It's going to be packed. You know what? I don't give a damn what news is happening. I don't care what news is happening next week. If it's not like going to tear the roof off, we ain't going to talk about it. We got 3 shows to talk about. That's too much to be talking about superfluous news too. So that being said, come back and join us then. So until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly, and we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.